Classification of proteins based on peptide chain. Alright, so we know that the building block of protein is what? Amino acids, right? Now, amino acids are linked together by peptide bonds, right? Now, if we have two amino acids linked by peptide bond, we call that a dipeptide. If we have two, if you have three, tripeptide. If you have few amino acids linked together, we call that what? Oligopeptide, right? If you have few amino acids linked together, we call it oligopeptide. Oligopeptide. Actually, oligo means few. So if they say oligosaccharide, few sugar units, oligopeptide, few peptides, is it not? Then if you have many amino acids linked together, what do you have? If you have poly, right? Polypeptide. So if you have many amino acids linked together by peptide bond, we have polypeptide. Now, most proteins have one polypeptide chain. Listen up, oh. Some proteins have one polypeptide chain. Remember, polypeptide chain now, amino acid, plenty of them, just one chain like that. While some other proteins have like 2, 3, 4 polypeptide chains linked together. Those proteins that have just one polypeptide chain are called what? Monomeric. Mono means what? One. Monomeric proteins are proteins that have just one polypeptide chains. One polypeptide chain. Why those proteins that have more than one polypeptide chain, like 2, 3, 4, like that polypeptide chains, they are called what? Multimeric proteins. So multimeric proteins are proteins with 2 or more polypeptide chains. Do we understand that? So if this represents polypeptide, and this is a protein, if this is a protein, is this a monomeric protein or multimeric protein? Multimeric, right? Because we're having 2 polypeptide chain here. Is it not? Good. Now, the multimeric proteins, examples are hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a protein involved in the transport of what? Oxygen, right? It's found in red blood cell and is involved in transport of oxygen. Now, this hemoglobin have 4 polypeptide chains, right? Has 4 polypeptide chains. It's a polymeric protein. It's a tetrameric protein. Tetrameric, having 4. Do you understand? Now, insulin have 2 polypeptide chains, A and B. All right. Now, multimeric proteins, depending on, now look at this case. I know I've not given you 1-letter codes for amino acids, so let me use the 3-letter codes. If not, amino acids have their 1-letter codes. If I have something like this, or let me see use the 1-letter codes and let you know what they represent. Now please look up. We have 2 proteins on the board. We have 2 proteins on the board. Protein A and protein B. This is assuming this is a polypeptide chain, right? This is another polypeptide chain, right? How many polypeptide chain do we have in protein A? 2 polypeptide chains. So is it monomeric or multimeric? Multimeric, right? How many polypeptide chain do we have here also? Is it monomeric or multimeric? Multimeric, right? How are we counting it? This is 1 polypeptide chain. This is another polypeptide chain. Now, these are amino acids, right? Now, the way these amino acids are linked together, They are called the amino acid sequence. Here, A is alanine, W is tryptophan. That's what it represents. For now, don't bother yourself. Y is thyroxine. This is glycine. This is alanine. So the way these amino acids are linked together is very, very important, and it's called the sequence of the amino acid. Have you heard of sickle cell anemia? Do you know that it is just one misplaced amino acid that causes that thing? First, from the base. But I don't want, since we are talking about amino acids, let me talk about only the amino acid aspect. Glutamic acid and valine, the amino acid, is it not? Where glutamic acid is supposed to be, valine is valine. Out of the thousands of hundreds of amino acids we have linked together to form that protein, hemoglobin. In hemoglobin that is involved in transport of oxygen, is it not? And we say hemoglobin is part of the red blood cell, and the red blood cell is supposed to be round in shape. But now, if one amino acid, glutamic acid, is replaced with another amino acid, valine, out of all the hundreds of amino acids, the shape of the red blood cell will change from this round shape to sickle shape or half moon shape. That's where the name came from. Sickle shape. Sickle is that thing they used to use and harvest, or half moon shape. And so you can no longer transport oxygen effectively again, causing that serious effect. Just one amino acid coming out and another amino acid. The other ones are still the same, but just 1 point. So you can see how important the sequence of amino acids are. Very, very important. Like this one now. If I remove this W here and put another thing here, you've changed that protein. You've changed it. So the amino acid sequence is very important. Now, if you look at this first polypeptide and this second polypeptide, look at the sequence. Are they the same thing? A, W, W, Y, Y. They are the same thing, right? So since the two polypeptides have the same amino acid sequence, we call this multimeric protein multimeric protein. Homo means same kind. They have same kind of amino acid sequence. First, it is multimeric because it has two amino acids, polypeptides, right? Now, it is multimeric because it has the same kind of amino acid sequence, right? The same amino acid sequence. Now, look at this one. Is the amino acid sequence in the first polypeptide same as the one in the second polypeptide? Here is A, here is W. Here is W, here is A. Here is Y, here is G. So the two amino acids are different. The amino acid sequence here is different from the amino acid sequence here. So we call it what? Heteromultimeric. So if the polypeptides that make up that protein, if they have the same sequence, we call that what? Homomultimeric. If they have different sequence, we call it what? Heteromultimeric. That's it. Any question?